Hi guys, I'm back for part 2 of my update on the information that I have found about corn allergies this month. Now, since I did the other video the other day, I went back in to check out a channel or a website that was recommended on one of these sheets of information I have, and I found some interesting facts on it that I wanted to share. Now this here, the first one I have, it's from Corn Allergy 101 neocate.com. Now they do some kind of product for nutrition, and she's been asked a lot of questions about it, if the ingredients are derived from corn and are they safe for people with corn allergies. And she brings out that that's something you need to discuss with your doctor. Well, I don't think asking if they contain any of those ingredients should be a reason to refer them to their doctor. They can either answer yes or no. But she didn't. And it said that here about many allergists have considered true allergic reactions to corn uncommon. They don't believe there are true corn allergies, which is ridiculous. And it says true corn allergies happen when the immune system reacts to the protein in corn. So you could call them a corn protein allergy. So they're saying that you're not allergic to the whole corn, that it's just the protein. Well, I beg to differ, because I'm allergic to any derivative that comes out of it, as I'm sure many of you are. And it says we don't know how many people have a true corn allergy because there's limited research. And so it tells you to consult a board-certified allergist. And it says a true corn protein allergy can be difficult to diagnose through traditional methods. And it said some individuals seem to be sensitive to the carbohydrate in corn, which is where they make all their derivatives, and said it is hard to diagnose and it's not well understood. And it says if your allergist suspects a corn allergy, he or she may recommend a food elimination diet in which you avoid corn and many derivatives of corn for a given period of time. And that's usually 2 to 4 weeks. And during this time, your symptoms will be monitored to determine if there's any improvement while corn is eliminated. Now, for me, I did it the way the doctor wanted, but basically I was on my own because I was home alone. My husband was out on the road driving, so I had no one around me in case I needed them. Fortunately, my allergist did give me a prescription for EpiPens. He put me on medication to try to counteract if I was starting to have symptoms of attack. So I was okay there. But because I went on that elimination diet before I ever saw the allergist, I pretty much, during that period until they could get me in, I cleaned my body out because I wouldn't eat. I was too terrified to eat. The idea that I almost died really stuck with me, to the point where I would eat 1 item a day, and I would eat 6 small servings of that a day. That was my food for the day, and it was fresh cooked, fresh made food that I knew had no corn or derivatives in it, and I could eat it. So because of that, I ended up doing this major body cleanse and got rid of what I call the poison. which I said in the other video is that exactly what it is, because like Dr. Arland, I think it was Dr. Arland Hill, like he said, the way they've genetically modified the corn, it produces its own toxin. So corn has become a toxin. And I've said that all along, that it's nothing but a poison in your system. Now, she talks about here that it's not among the top 8 food allergens in the United States, for which they have to do the special label information that is required by Food Allergen Labeling and Consumer Protection Act. Food labels do not have to declare whether ingredients come from corn. Even more difficult, many ingredients in convenience foods can come from corn without being obvious. And that's why it's so important that if you're diagnosed with a corn allergy, we need to ask the allergist specifically what ingredients to avoid. And like I shared with you when I first started this channel, the ingredient list for derivatives, whatever corn is made from. And I've been told that there are still many more things that are not on that list. So it brings out that some ingredients which are refined and contain trace or undetectable amounts of corn protein may be acceptable for some patients with a corn protein allergy. Well, I don't feel that way. I feel if it's any kind of corn, keep it away from me. And because it says here their thresholds for tolerance vary. And you need to ask your allergist for guidance on what ingredients corn ingredients you need to avoid. And she talks about some of the common derivatives, which is cornstarch, corn syrup, maltodextrin, vegetable oils, cellulose, and caramel. And it said these are just a few examples and not a comprehensive list. Well, I know that. And if you're unsure if an ingredient is from corn or if you should avoid it, contact the manufacturer. Well, I do that a lot. When I'm unsure about something and I want to find out, I contact them. And they're very happy to talk with you and help you with that. So they can help you find out if it's something you need to stay away from. Now, this article goes on to talk about the products that she recommends for people, and every one of them are made from corn syrup, maltodextrin, anything that's from corn is in that. So she talks mainly about the corn protein, saying that is what people become allergic to. Well, that's not the case, because as I said before, I'm allergic to all of it. And the doctor found out that I was. So it's a case of, I know that I can't put any of it in my mouth. If I get a hold of something that that does have a corn derivative and I don't know it, I can take one bite and I'm fine. Usually if I take a second bite, my nose starts to swell and I get all cloggy. If I eat any more than that, like another bite or on to finish it, I end up in an asthma attack and I can't breathe. So after the second bite, if my nose starts to swell, I just, nope, can't have that. You know, what is that made from? Because sometimes they just, like she said, they're not required to tell you exactly everything that's in your food. And it says here, this article, which was updated October 12th, 2020, I found this one very interesting, and this is where they're the ones that had the website that I went on and found this other website. And this titled, How Do You Cope with a Corn Allergy? And he starts out by saying, by federal law, labels must warn consumers if a food product contains at least one of the 8 allergens responsible for more than 90% of food allergies. Corn isn't among them. It isn't judged to be a major food allergen. Now, when I give you the other information that I have found, you're going to be saying, why haven't they declared it a major allergen? Because that's exactly what I said. And it said, for people with a corn allergy, food labels won't alert them to the presence of their allergy-causing culprit. On their own, they're left to track food products that contain corn or corn derivatives. And that's true. We're left to do it on our own because no one cares. They're not going to listen to us unless there's some kind of change. Now, he goes on to say that there is a petition circulating on change.org that calls on the U.S. Food and Drug Administration to require clear labeling of food products that have corn or corn derivatives. And it brings out how a mother with a child who recently was diagnosed with a corn allergy launched that petition, and as of late July, it had 8,900 supporters. And he asked the question, in the absence of mandated labeling, what are we supposed to do, the corn allergy sufferers? Well, there's a person named Kathleen Rails. She's known as the allergy chef. And the other article I have, she is a member of that group. So she was diagnosed 4 years ago. And she goes to extreme lengths to steer clear of it. In fact, and now I did not know this, we have well water, so I don't worry about my water. But she says that she can't drink most water because the additives and disinfectants in drinking water can be derived from corn, or a corn-based carrier might be used to help dissolve them. And this is according to the Corn Allergy Girl website. Now, that would be interesting to find her information and see where she got that about the water, because I've never had an issue with water. She gives you 4 tips for us that are coping with it. She says to avoid online groups that discuss corn allergies, especially groups on Facebook, and says to get to know yourself and your limits as well as the facts before you start poking around online to check out other people's opinions. Because you got to remember that in these groups, like she's saying, and I understand what she's saying because I've seen some of these groups and some of the things that people say, it's like you don't know what you're talking about. Because like she says, you need to, you get a lot of advice. She says a lot of advice is poor and sometimes flat out wrong. And it is. And it says if you're new to a corn allergy, some of the advice is simply dangerous. Like I said, I've been at this. I started having issues with corn in 2002. The full-fledged allergy to it ended up in 2003. So I've been over 18 years dealing with this, but it's been almost 18 years since I was diagnosed. And then she says to educate yourself, which is what I try to do. And I'm trying to give you guys information so that you can go in and check it out for yourself. She says, while you're tiptoeing around the minefield of bad advice online, look for trustworthy websites that can help you navigate the more than 200 products, including food and beverages that have corn or corn derivatives. So she has a partial list, which has 8 of the ones on the other article And then she added a few more and said that that isn't the complete list. So I shared a list with you and told you where you could go and find it. So that would be a big help until you get used to exactly what the derivatives are and the names. I've been doing it for so long, I can look at an item and tell you if it has a corn product. And she tells you here that if you're severely allergic to corn, source foods from trusted brands and make meals from scratch. And that's exactly what I've been trying to show you guys. I make everything from scratch, and I use products that I know are safe, that have no corn derivatives whatsoever, and that's all I use. I do not take a risk and try something else because it's not worth it to me. I've gotten through this long a time with this allergy, and I want to continue to get through the rest of my life with it. And it tells you here just about all food in one way or another can be sourced and made corn-free, but it won't be easy. And she's saying that especially for people that have just found out they have this allergy. It's not easy. It took me 5 years to really get in sync on my cooking, and you know, because I kept going. The first 2 years I'm like, I can't eat, and I'm heavier now because I've had a lot of health issues where I could not move like I used to do. But back then I lost so much weight, I was losing my hair because I could not eat. And the doctor was really, really worried. He thought I was really going downhill. And so he tried to help me find foods that I was able to eat that had no corn derivatives. And I was real thankful to him for that, because I just wouldn't eat. It was like new. It, you know, might have corn in it. I'm not going to eat it. And so I ate a lot of fruits, a lot of vegetables that I was not allergic to, because I am allergic to 7 other foods. So that made it even harder because I had to make sure I didn't get those foods. So she talks about Children's Hospital, Golisano Children's Hospital says many health food stores stock corn-free foods, and that's true. Where I lived at when I discovered this allergy, they had a health food store, and I would go in and buy my products in bulk. I had to make sure, I think I told you before, rice that was in bulk was coated with cornstarch. I had to even read the labels on the bulk products to make sure they were not coated with cornstarch or anything like that. But I'd order a case of sunflower oil to cook with. I found that was the best thing I could use. You know, I'd get pure cane sugar, pure syrup, like maple syrup, nothing imitation, never anything imitation. And it's real helpful. It's a little more expensive. Like where we are, we have a Sprouts and Whole Foods, which is pretty much like a natural food store. And they are a little pricier, but they're worth it. They're worth it in trying to deal with this specific allergy. And it talks about the foods that you come across that have corn or corn byproducts. And it talks about baby food, canned vegetables, peanut butter, salad dressings, ketchup, mustard, cereal, fruit juices and drinks, powdered sugar, meat products such as hot dogs and sausage, soft drinks, snack foods, low-calorie sweeteners, which I know they definitely do have a corn derivative, canned and frozen berries, vinegar, which is generally the white vinegar, and wine. So it's not a complete list, but it just shows you how prevalent it is having corn derivatives in our food. Now, she tells you also to know the symptoms of a corn allergy. And she says here that the American College of Allergy, Asthma, and Immunology says symptoms of a corn allergy develop when someone's immune system, which definitely was me, becomes sensitized and overreacts after eating corn or foods containing corn-based ingredients, or even after being exposed to corn pollen. The organization advises that a corn allergy can be difficult to detect. An allergy test can pinpoint whether someone has a corn allergy. AllergicChild.com says it's dangerous to assume that someone's allergy symptoms are being triggered by corn allergens. Well, that's true. You have to be tested to find out for sure, because anymore people are probably assuming, if they eat something out, I'm reacting to the corn. It talks about the symptoms being hives or skin rash, nausea, stomach cramps, indigestion, vomiting, or diarrhea. Now, from my other research, those symptoms of nausea, stomach cramps, and the other things are if you're intolerant. And that's from the studies I've looked at for the IgE antibodies. But you can get a stuffy runny nose, which I get a stuffy nose, sneezing, headache, and asthma, anaphylaxis, and it says each year in the U.S., according to Federal Food and Drug Administration, it's estimated that food anaphylaxis results in 30,000 ER visits, 2,000 hospitalizations, and 150 deaths. Now, Rail says if she were to consume food with corn or corn byproducts, her symptoms could include headache, tongue swelling, emotional and mental distress, drop in blood pressure, and gastrointestinal problems. And I know that to be true because I remember they were testing me for other foods, and the one food, my blood pressure dropped real low, and that was 2 carrots. And so he told me, he said, you're allergic to carrots, you're not going to be able to eat them again. And I've ate them for years. I love carrots. It was heartbreaking that I couldn't have them anymore. So these are just different symptoms that she brings out. And it says that your sensitivity to corn allergens can happen externally through skin contact. And I've always said that because I can't use lotions on my body. I can't use makeup. I have actually had bad reactions when I was doing Mary Kay party and I wanted to try the mineral foundation. And my face was swollen like a big red balloon from the foundation because it had cornstarch in it. So it's not just an internal thing, it's also on your skin, and that can be scary. Now they asked the question, this guy says, how common are they? Corn allergies are not prevalent. And Rail says as many as 15 million Americans have food allergies, but a current breakdown of those who have corn allergies is not available. Now, the Corn Refiners Association says the presence of corn allergies in the U.S. population, now this is the interesting part that blew me away. They say that the presence of corn allergies in the U.S. population is exceedingly low, affecting less than 0.016% of Americans. Now, you got to understand when they did that study, It was a statistic from a 1950 study, 71 years ago. Excuse me, what have you guys been doing since? That's how I feel about it. And according, let's see, among children, the rate of food allergies rose from 3.4% in 1997 to 5.1% in 2011. And it said not all of these allergies are severe, but sufferers will all have a very long road ahead of them. Now, these are children. That wasn't about adults. And it said they've watched the corn allergy diagnosis start to rise, especially in children. And the road is paved with the realization that there's no medical cure for a corn allergy. And it says Penn State Hershey's Children's Hospital says the only treatment is to avoid all food products that contain corn or corn derivative as an ingredient. So basically they're saying there's nothing that can be done. Just you're just going to have to learn to live with it. And it's like, well, what are we supposed to do for food? Now, I can honestly say, because of my age, I grew up in an era where we gardened every summer. We canned every bit of our food. I had no allergies to any foods whatsoever through up until food allergies started in 92. I became allergic to cantaloupe. It's the only one I had a problem with until I became allergic to corn. Then I became allergic to several other vegetables. And so it's a case of what did they expect us to do? Back then, we did not have all this food processing. And, our main processed foods was buying a loaf of bread at the store, hot dogs, or potato chips, and crackers. I mean, we did everything in the stores these days is processed. Everything. We ate fresh foods every day. Dad would buy a side of beef from one of the farmers. It was a case of you didn't have to worry about corn derivatives. But now it's just so bad. And that article, when I read that it said that percentage, but it was done in 1950, it was like, this is crazy. What is going on with these doctors and the Food and Drug? They've got to do something here. Now, on that article, it talked about going to change.org and the mother who has the petition there that you can sign. I didn't find it, but there were a lot of different petitions on there. But one thing I did found, and I printed out information, and it's a monthly corn allergy statistic sheet from Corn Allergy Advocacy Resources. Now, and it's a blogspot.com, and it's a monthly statistics, and you can look that up. I'll put all the links from everything I've discussed with you guys down in the description so you can go to it. There's also a new YouTube channel, and it is a mother who's never had a problem about corn or its derivatives, except her child has become allergic. So go over there. She's only got 2 short videos, but go over there and take a look at her. I'll put her YouTube channel down in the description. It's called Let's Take a Stand. And I can understand her feelings, how she feels inside, and how agitated, because I know that's how I was. This one here, it talks about the emerging corn allergy crisis. It is a crisis now. And she brings out the Congress must declare corn an official allergen before corn and corn derivatives derivatives are subject to FDA labeling guidelines. Since there is an emerging corn allergy crisis with potentially life-threatening consequences, I am devoting this blog to advocate for the corn allergy community and to provide resources to help them navigate this difficult journey. Please join me in demanding that Congress declare corn an official allergen. And so she does statistics every month, and she's been doing it, I don't know how long she's been doing it, but I know that the statistic at the end of January 2021, she brought out that in one allergy group for corn, of 10,977 members, 170 of those who are anaphylactic to corn, there has been a 997.7% increase in corn allergies in the last 91 months, with an average of 109.6 new members a month. So what she's saying here, for just over 7.5 years, that is how much corn allergy, people becoming allergic to corn has gone up. Now that is a lot. And as I said, I'll put this site down in, and you can actually join her as a member. The allergy chef on here is a member. She had left a big comment talking about her journey with corn allergy, and she responds, the woman that does this, she responds back to you. But she, you know, she talks about here how the alarming growth statistics are indicative of an emerging corn allergy crisis and should far exceed the threshold for declaring corn an official allergen, subject to the FDA labeling requirements. So, in other words, what the crisis that's going on of people becoming allergic is worse. It's far beyond what it should be in order for the FDA to declare it a major allergen. And I've known that all along because I've been seeing so many people become allergic to it. And, you know, it's just crazy. I wanted to share this information. I'm going to keep going in and getting more and more information as we go. And I know this is long and it may seem boring, but for those of us who have to deal with this every day of our lives, this is important. And I will put the links down in the description of the websites that I went to so that you can go and check them out. There, you may find other information that I missed. But like she said, she was told by her state representative, or she was told, I can't remember who she said she was told by. She said her state representative told her to write letters, to do everything she could to get the information so that they would look it over about declaring it a major allergen. So hopefully they'll get somewhere with it. But I'll keep doing my recipes. I'll keep sharing information with you guys as I get it. And I hope you all will stay safe and take care of yourselves. And I'll see you soon.